Hello and welcome to my channel. In today's video, we will see multi-level inheritance with example. In multi-level inheritance, your derived classes get inherited in a new class. For example, in this diagram, you have A as a base class and B as a derived class. Now, your derived class get inherit in a new class, therefore multi-level inheritance. You can see syntax class A doesn't change. Class B has in opening and closing parenthesis class A, which is acting as a base class for class B, and then class C you have base class as B, therefore class C in opening and closing parenthesis you have name of class B. Let us understand this by one more example in which a student class is getting inherited in class marks and class marks is getting inherited in class result. Indirectly, all the methods and members of the base class are available in the class result via multi-level inheritance. So understanding class student, your class student is acting as a base class, therefore there is no syntax change. It has its constructor which is taking R and N, initializing roll number and name. It has a display method which is displaying the roll number and name of the student. Click on the cell, run the cell, student class will be created. Now class marks is inheriting the features of class student, therefore in opening and closing parenthesis it has student in as a base class. We are writing the constructor of class marks. It will take first two parameters will be used for initialization of class student. Last three parameters will be used for initialization of its data member. We create the temporary object of class student using super method and call the constructor of class student, and we have to pass two parameters, roll number and name, which will be used for initialization of self roll number and self name. Then m1 will be used for initialization of its data member, m2 will be used for initialization of second data member, m3 will be used for initialization of third data member. It has a display function which is displaying the marks of three subject, self m1, self.m2, self.m3. Note that here while using the data member you have used or we have used single underscore so that the member acts as a protected member, can be directly used in the subclass but cannot be used anywhere else. Now this derived class is getting inherited in class result, therefore derived class is getting inherited in the new class, therefore multi-level inheritance. Class result has base class marks, it has a class member total. We are writing the constructor of derived class result. It has the duty to initialize the data member of the base class. For marks we require how many parameters? 1 2 3 4 5. So we have 1 2 3 4 5 parameters for the base class itself and one for initialization of data member of the class result. So it creates the temporary object of the base class, call the constructor of the base class and pass initial 5 parameters, roll number, name, marks of 3 subject, and it has one additional parameter for initialization of data member of itself. So it will initialize the data member of itself. This is constructor. Then this class has a display method which is displaying the sports marks. First you have printf which prints a comment sports marks are, and it is printing self._sm which are the sports marks for current object. Then it is computing the total self.m1 m2 m3 plus self.sm. This was possible because the data member was preceded by single underscore, which can be directly used in the subclass, and then after that using a print statement we are printing total. Click on the cell, run the cell, class result is created. Okay, first we have to create class marks, then we have to create class result. Now it will not show any error. We create the object of class result. So you have to call result constructor, the name of the class. Its constructor require 1 2 3 4 5 6 parameters. So we are passing 6 argument, roll number, name, marks of 3 subjects, sports marks. Constructor will be called through the constructor. Super method will be called which will call the constructor of class marks. Class marks will call the constructor of class its base class, which is class student. Class student constructor will initialize roll number by R and name by N. Remaining marks of three subjects will be used for initialization of data members of marks, and after that SM will be used for initialization of itself. Object R1 will be created, it will return in R1. Then this result has a sDisplay method which is indirect directly through marks. So when we run r1.sDisplay, it will show name and roll number. mDisplay is inherited via the single inheritance from marks result. You have mDisplay indirectly present in class result. Therefore, via the object of class result, we can call mDisplay method, which is displaying 70, 80, 90. Finally, we call our display method, which will display sports marks are 15 and total is via computing the total, which is 255. We check the content of object R1. It has, you can see, sDisplay method and mDisplay method. This sDisplay method is indirectly inherited from display student class, and mDisplay method is directly inherited from marks class, and rDisplay is the method of itself. It has a M1, M2, M3 name, roll number and SM because they are preceded by single underscore can be directly accessed in the derived class result. So that's it for today's video. We have seen what is multi-level inheritance and with one example. Thank you. Thanks for watching. Do hit the subscribe button for more such technical content. See you in the next video.